Welcome to the podcast, guys. We are going to dive right into a reaction video. So let's get into it.
Get in.
Open the door.
Can you please get away?
Can we talk?
Riri, no, I gotta go to work.
Can we talk?
Okay, go ahead, talk.
Vamos a hablar.
Can we talk? Go ahead.
Put the window down.
Don't speak, none of that
Put
shit.
the window down.
No, I'm gonna keep it like this.
I can't see you.
Talk to me.
I can't see you.
Talk to me.
I can't see you.
I can see you.
Put the window down.
Yo, talk.
Baja la ventana.
Okay, who is he then? Who is he?
My cousin. Ya yo te dije, habla español. Es mi primo.
Riri, you are Dominican. How is he your cousin? Dude was blacker than me.
Just stop recording me. Can we just talk for a second?
No, we done.
What do you mean we're done?
Only reason I'm recording is because you hit
fine, then I will
you
kill
crazy?
any ever way.
Yo. See, my mom told me not to talk to you. Mix you tripping. Like, yo, I gotta go. Like, I gotta go. You like bugging. Get in.
Jeez. So let's break that down. That was a lot there. That was a lot. So, guys in the car, girls outside of the car, they're apparently dating. He seems like he doesn't want anything to do with her. She wants him to roll down the window so they can talk. He doesn't want to. He doesn't want to talk. He just wants to leave. He has to go to work. And then they start arguing about, apparently she said it was his cousin, but that he said that she cheated on him, and it was along the lines of her being guilty for cheating, and he wasn't having any of it. He was calling her out on it, and he was pretty much saying that it was over, and then she said, it's mine's, you're mine's, and she's going to any woman that gets near him or gets with him. And then at the end, she punched herself in the face or slapped herself in the face. What it looks like. So crazy, crazy stuff. What are your initial thoughts of this video?
I've seen a lot of videos just like this one where a man will catch his woman in the act of cheating, whether it's at her house, somebody else's house, in another car. Like in this case, I'm assuming this happened in another car. Maybe he was parked next to them or something like that. And the same script always tends to kind of play out. Moments ago, she was cool, calm, and collective cheating. She didn't care at all about the guy, clearly, if she made up with another man. But when reality sets in that she's caught, the same thing always happens. They go full psycho. Sometimes they start crying. Oh, please, let's talk, let's figure this out. All of a sudden, she cares because the reality hit her that he caught her, and now he's out the door. Okay, and she did say something in the video that she'll beat up blah 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 any woman that comes in his life because I think the reality's settling in, and she realizes now it's his turn to cheat. Okay,
absolutely. And do you think that she acted this way because boom, she got caught cheating, so that's her only way to react? That's kind of like a reflex on her end?
Yeah, I think she had an emotional breakdown because that's what tends to happen is like, women cheat when they're not getting caught and they're kind of like behind closed doors cheating. Women do this stuff all the time. This is nothing new. And they do it willingly at their own, they know the risk that's involved. They know what they're doing is wrong. Okay. But who knows, maybe she liked this guy or she wanted to like kind of on the DLC, what he's about. And you could tell by how she was dressed. She she had makeup on, she was dressed nice. Clearly she wasn't like wearing any like bummy clothes. So she, got dolled up for this scenario. And she got caught, and this guy was probably onto her bullshit. She probably lied to him from the get-go and said that she was going somewhere, and he followed her, however he found out where she was going to be, and he caught her in the act. And what you're seeing is a typical emotional meltdown of a woman that just got caught cheating.
It's scary stuff because the way she was going about it, especially towards the end, is kind of domestic violence portraying sort of, the way she was going to go about it. She was going to hurt him. She was going to hurt her. And I do have some stats here about that sort of thing. 1 in 4 women have been victims of severe physical violence by an intimate partner in their lifetime, but 1 in 7 men have been as well. So yes, women have been victims. There's no doubt about that. It's understood. But men are also victims as well. So that's a case where potentially in the future, he could be a victim. And that's something that he has to get away from immediately so he can avoid being any sort of victim. What do you think he's going to do now that that interaction occurred, that minute 10 seconds of argument and her threatening him occurred?
Well, I'll tell you, now that you read those stats, come to think of it, it's actually very smart that he kept the door and the window closed and spoke to her through the window. That was a very smart move on his part. I don't know if he did that on purpose, but if he did, that was smart, because by staying in the car, he can now talk to her through a window. She cannot put hands on him. Things can't escalate physically. He's in his car. He could always drive off. So that was smart on his part. What I think he should do on his end, I think he should leave her in the dust. That's one of the worst things to have to experience as a man, like physically seeing your woman cheating or about to cheat. You're gonna remember that for a while. He needs to leave her behind. Don't give her a second chance. He gave her a chance to like explain herself. She's continued lying. She said it's her cousin. Such BS.
Stop the cap.
And what she displayed in that video is like signs of emotional instability. She hit herself in the face. You saw that? She kind of like smacked herself.
She punched herself in the face or smacked herself or something. Like
she
was
seems
going nuts. Very unstable. I say that after he gets away from that situation right then and there, I think he should ghost her.
Yeah. 100% block her. You don't need a woman like that in your life. Clearly she doesn't respect you. She's cheating on you, lying about it, straight to your face. The right thing to do would be for her to he should have still left her, but the right thing for her to do would be to admit that she cheated. She should have apologized, and he should have still left her, but she chose to lie directly in his face.
How serious should he take the situation? Let's say he ghosts her or blocks her or he just gets away from her completely, but she's stalking the guy, trying to threaten the guy, probably some physical violence is in play potentially. Should he maybe file a restraining order or police report of some sort?
In this case, it's normally I don't condone filming or recording or whatever, like drama or whatever, but in this particular case, it's probably good that he has this on video as evidence, because if she ever does what you said, like, come after him or try to like threaten him or something like that, she should definitely film it and record it, just so he has it as documentation. If it ever gets serious, he has documentation proof of her psychotic behavior.
So let's get into this part, because it seems like men tend to be. Are men typically interested in crazy women?
Are they interested in crazy women?
Yeah, dating women that are just crazy like that.
I think generally men don't want psychotic women. I think we want peace. We prefer relationships where things are quiet. There's not that many arguments or no arguments, better yet. And more importantly, to date a woman where you don't have to worry about cheating and stuff like this even happening. Yeah. Bingo. That's the main thing.
Big time. I agree with all that. I mean, the only crazy she should be is in bed.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it.
Right.
But
exactly.
when she's crazy outside of that situation, no. Threatening violence, threatening to hurt, somebody that he eventually gets with, because he was trying to break up with her, if you notice that there.
Yes.
So and then she's like, "Oh, you mind?" And she started, trying to, get all up on him, and he wasn't having it. He wasn't having it, which was a good thing. He was, putting his foot down for the most part, and it was driving her crazy. It legit drove her nuts. Luckily,
in this particular case, it seems like they were just dating. But imagine this was your wife. Okay, you pull up to a parking lot, and you see your wife in a car with another man. And you have that conversation, and she still lies to your face that it was her cousin or that she wasn't cheating.
Gotcha, bitch.
We just actually did a reaction video to another video of a woman gaslighting her boyfriend about something that went down between them, and she kind of like squinted her eye to her friend. Women are manipulators, and they will gaslight you. Like even in this particular case, he caught her red-handed, and she still tried to lie.
That goes to the next question. Should men avoid crazy women?
Yeah, you can't.
At all costs.
You have to vet women out. And, in a way, it's probably a good thing to have the occasional argument here and there, because it'll kind of give you a chance to test her. What are her emotions like? Is she mentally stable? Does she make a massive deal out of little things? And, in this particular case, she was in the wrongdoing. She was cheating. And she displayed really mentally, emotionally unstable behavior. The way she smacked herself in the face, she started yelling. Then she started making some kind of threats where they like bleeped it out. you don't need a woman like that in your life, because if God forbid he stays with her, if he was married to her or had kids with her, he would really have a problem on his hands.
I mean, she was an absolute nut job. Exactly. She was an absolute, probably pleasant to deal with in that relationship.
No.
Doubt it, though.
No.
Now, speaking of trying to vet women out that are, their attitudes and how they go about themselves, how do guys go about that before taking them seriously, before dating them seriously? How do guys, really find a way to find out, is this girl crazy, or, can she, turn on me at some point?
Few things. Number one, I think when guys are casually dating, you should never have just one woman. They refer to that as spinning plates, right? Where, especially when you're just in the early stages of dating, you should also be talking to multiple women at a time. That way your options are open as well. And as you get to know a woman over the course of a few months, you will have some disagreements or arguments, and it'll give you a chance to see how she is emotionally. Because an emotionally sound woman is never going to flip out on you or make any threats or start, get acting psychotic, or especially over little things. And even in big scenarios, she shouldn't be acting that way. So I think when I say you should vet women out, I'm specifically talking about, like, do you trust her? How are her emotions? Is she giving you a hard time? Things like that, because those are the things that you're going to have a hard time with down the line.
For guys that deal with this on a daily basis and that may feel stuck, what should they do? Because the thing is that there's things that happen in relationships or when people are dating behind closed doors. You don't know what's going on. You can only wonder what's happening. You think a relationship is going well, and then all of a sudden, a breakup happens, or, something, not so good, to keep it PG here, goes down. Mm-hmm. And, unfortunately, the outcome comes out and you don't realize. You think, oh, it was a picture perfect relationship, but it really wasn't. And there must have been things going down on a daily basis. So how do guys that are stuck in that situation, maybe say guys that are married or guys that have kids, and they feel that, they can't separate, or maybe they're in a relationship and, they feel that if they separate, something to a negative effect would happen?
Always remember, I don't care if you're married or not, you're not stuck with that person. So if she's making your life a living hell, you don't trust her, she's cheating on you, disrespecting you, you don't deserve to be in that type of a scenario, and you need to find a way to get out of it in the least, problematic way. So no arguing, no physical escalation. In his particular case, like, if you have a psychotic woman, record her. I'm not saying I don't really condone the whole, I don't like, having to film somebody to use it against them. But if you have a psychotic woman on your hands, you should probably have an audio recording or a video recording of it, because in today's day and age, the court is going to be on the woman's side 99.999% of the time. So the more proof you have to back up your claims, the better off you are. But my advice to any man that's in a relationship with a crazy woman, the sooner you get out, the better, because if by you staying there, you're feeding a monster, it's not going to end well.
You make a great point. I mean, documenting everything. It could be filming. It could be text messages.
Yes.
There's all sorts of ways. Emails, crazy as that sounds. Any way that you can document a situation like that, or, something that's, you're in that bubble where, things are starting to kind of build. Before things get to the point where it explodes, you want to have everything documented.
Yes.
And then try to see if you can get out of that situation.
Look, I'll give you a perfect example. Let's say you're married and your wife is cheating on you, right? You should find a way to document that, because when you get divorced, guess what's going to happen? She's going to take you to court, right? You want to have some documentation, some proof that she was in the wrongdoing, because that's going to at least help you out.
Absolutely. You have to have that support, because without that support, you have nothing. You don't have anything to back you up. And
word
typically, it's going to go in her favor, typically.
It's going to be your word versus hers. So in court, that's not going to really hold that far. So you got to have some sort of proof.
And we talk about, having that backup, because, again, we talk about divorces, every so often. 50 to 60% of divorces happening, 80 to probably 90% of women initiating them. It's something that we repeat because it's a problem. It's a big problem, and you can see by the numbers. So I'm going to get into some more numbers in a second, but before I do, make sure that you follow us on the road to 1,000 subscribers. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification button. We are on YouTube, and we're here to stay, and we're going to keep pushing forward. We want to help people, as many people out there, to get this message out there. And, you know, it's really important that these things are really heard, taken seriously, taken into consideration, because, you know, it could save someone. It could save someone, could save someone's life, you know, if you get really down to it. So follow us on our socials as well. We're the Podcast Guys 5 on the old Twitter, on X now. We are the Podcast Guys _ on both Instagram and TikTok. So support us there as well. Again, we are here, and we are here to keep pushing forward and to help as many of you out there as possible, both men and women. So the next stat is crazy, but it's important that it's understood and taken seriously. And that stat is that every year, 10 million men and women become victims of domestic violence. And domestic violence seems to be a very big problem, you know, in this country. I mean, you could tell right there, 10 million people. That's crazy.
You know, domestic violence is a massive issue. I think it's something that both men and women are both a victim of. The one thing I have to add to that, though, is that realistically, most of the time, if a man's doing something to a woman physically in a relationship, all she has to do is call the cops. Cops are going to be there. They're going to be on her side. The unfortunate reality for men is that if you call the cops and you say, hey, my wife punched me in the face or smacked me or hit me over the head with a glass bottle, they're not really going to do much, right? They're going to maybe document it, and they're going to be on their merry way. They're going to expect you to handle it or to separate from her. So I guess the point out of all this is, if you're in a abusive relationship or you're in a relationship where you foresee something like this possibly occurring, your best move is to get out as soon as possible. And I think what some people do is they just stay because they're scared to leave, or they have an emotional attachment to the person and they just stay anyway. It's not worth it.
Sometimes it's better to risk leaving than risk staying. You want to get out of the situation. Yes, you might risk some other things in your life, likely financially, for guys, and you don't want to lose that. But at the same time, do you want to risk, you know, potentially bodily harm? You know, that's scary stuff. You know, there's physical domestic violence, physical abuse. There's emotional abuse. There's technological abuse. There's some others that I have here: economic abuse. There's psychological abuse. There's sexual abuse. You know, so all of that is an element of domestic violence, and it's important to stay on top of those things and make sure you realize, okay, is this happening to me, man or woman? Is this happening to me in this relationship? And if it is, address it. And if it can't be solved, then you got to get out of that situation, whether you're talking to her, whether you are dating her in a serious relationship with her, or married. Got to get out, or you know, to him, vice versa.
It's always gonna suck, you know, backing out of a relationship, especially if you've been dating this girl for a while, and you know, the idea of like, all right, we're no longer together, she's gonna be sleeping with somebody else. But it's not. If it's a psychopathic woman that's, you know, emotionally unstable, you're only gonna do damage to yourself by staying in that. That's all I got to say.
Well, what's worse is this, what I'm going to bring up in these statistics here. Over 1 in 3 women, exactly 35.6%, approximately 35.6%, and 1 in 4 men, approximately 28.5%, have experienced rape, physical violence, and or stalking by an intimate partner in their lifetime.
Yeah.
Scary stuff.
It really is, yeah.
It's scary stuff, and it's also preventable. You know, you can prevent these things by how? Well, we just talked about it moments ago. Either risk going through these things here, or, you know, letting it get to that point, because of course you don't want it to get to that point. You know, it should never get to that point. You want to avoid those situations at all costs and more, because we didn't, you know, there's a whole bunch we could list. We didn't list them all, but you want to avoid this. Avoiding this is better than, you know, some financial situation that you're in, or maybe some other basic situations that you're dealing with, get out of the relationship and avoid any physical harm, any sexual abuse, anything like that, both men and women. But here's the thing. It's common that, the advantage is more in women's side with the fact that it's seen in the public eye that women are going through it only. But
Correct.
Men are going through the abuse as well.
And look, let's be real. If you were to call the police and say, hey, my girlfriend just punched me in the face or whatever, right? Cops are going to get there. What is she going to do? She's going to lie. She's not going to say, hey, officer, yeah, it's true. I punched my boyfriend in the face, take me to jail. She's going to start playing the victim. She's going to say, no, he hit me first. So as a man, really, that's not even an option for you. Like if you're with an abusive woman, I wouldn't get the cops involved at all, because chances are she's going to flip the script on you and lie and manipulate and gaslight the whole scenario anyway and make herself the victim. So you're far better off just leaving her.
Yeah, escape the situation. You just document everything. I think that's very important.
Yeah.
Because then you have a paper trail, per se, of what's going on. And in this guy's situation, we don't know what the aftermath of that was, but say he took her back.
Oh, another mistake. Yeah, that's another mistake.
What do you think of that? If he takes her back, do you think he's making a big error in judgment there?
I think this happens. This is another very common scenario, is people will have a scenario like this, and then like the emotions will kind of die out. They'll get over it after a few weeks and take the person back, and that's a mistake. She already did this to you once. Why on earth would you take her back? And whether it's cheating or you're dealing with a psychotic woman or physical abuse, whatever the case is, once women cross a certain line, you kind of have to have that you have to have it in you to just be like, look, I'm cutting her out. Screw the emotions or any attachment to her or whatever. You got to cut her out. Once women cross a certain line with you, you have to have it in you to just put them aside.
Should a guy rush onto another woman after he gets away from this type of woman? Or should he kind of sit down, look in the mirror, and try to figure his life out first?
Yeah, good point. If you have an experience like this where you just catch a woman cheating on you, probably take some time off to yourself. Focus on yourself, work, the gym, maybe take a break from dating. Dating is very toxic now in general, so probably better off just focusing on yourself, improving yourself, kind of like analyze what just happened there before you jump into another relationship. So
what should the ultimate goal for this guy be in this particular video? He looks like he was in a dire situation there at the end. He couldn't really even get his words out because she was flipping out on him. Aside from ghosting her and just disappearing, I mean, is there anything else that he should ultimately do to disappear, just kind of dissipate from this whole situation?
Something, I believe that every guy is going to go through a similar scenario to what he did. Every guy at a certain point in his life will experience what it's like to be cheated on. And I think the best thing you could do is learn from the entire experience. Retrace back to like the beginning to the end of the relationship, what kind of woman you dated, what kind of choices you made, what kind of red flags she was displaying. Always trust your instinct if you think she's cheating. And I would say just take it as a learning experience.
Yeah, I mean, some situations that occur within relationships and, all the above are unfathomable. I mean, you just don't know sometimes what's happening and you just can't explain it. But the best thing to do is just avoid, ignore, just get away. And if it gets to a point where it's threatening, knock on wood, life-threatening, then you got to do something about it. You got to report it, make it known. You have to do something. Don't just not do anything about it, man or woman. It's important because, again, ladies go through stuff too. So we're not, again, trying to seesaw it to one side only. But this video was, again, this is the reaction video to this guy being threatened by this woman.
What we just witnessed is female hypergamy live in action. So she was probably trying to get with a better looking guy, a guy with more money. Who knows? Maybe he was taller. So
what are your final thoughts on the whole shebang here?
Look, this is just the reality. Women cheat. You could catch them doing it. They'll still lie to you. They'll still manipulate you and try to gaslight you. This is the reality. Women cheat. And if you think your woman's cheating on you, she probably is. You're not crazy. Always trust your gut instinct. You can't trust these women nowadays.
Yeah, exactly. It's something that unfortunately it's inevitable. You know, you're going to run into situations where you're, you know, back and forth with a woman over something. It may not be cheating. It may be something else that you're dealing with. You know, there's all sorts of reasons why relationships crumble. But as I've said before, cheating is usually the main component of why relationships fail. And as a guy, this guy here, I would say get far away as possible from this woman. And, you know, if she's relentless and tries to, you know, go above and beyond to try to do something crazy, then, you know, report it to the cops, you know, get and just really, really move far away from her. I mean, there's, you know, a bunch of things that you should try to do to just disappear from that situation, from that person. That's, you know, really what I think of that. Always, even if you're in a relationship, you know, sometimes you have to keep things like, you know, where exactly you work private because you don't want her to stalk you at work. You know, there's certain things that you want to really keep on the low. Obviously, you share things in a relationship. You don't want to hide things necessarily, but, you know, things where you could be in a position where the relationship falls apart and then there's a negative after effect to it. You know, there's certain things that you don't want to divulge even to a significant other, unfortunately.
100%. You know, all women are not all angels. Just remember that. Thank you guys for watching. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. We appreciate you watching the video. We'll see you on the next one.
See you next time, guys. We're on the road to 1,000. Subscribe. Peace.